The Great American West in the Gilded Age was the beginning of America's population expanding into the West under the guidance of Manifest Destiny, as well as the expulsion of Native Americans from their homeland. To truly understand the American West, one must go back to the Louisiana Purchase in 1803, one of the first strides toward expansion. In the deal with France, the U.S. acquired 827,000 miles of land west of the Mississippi River for about $15 million. America held on to that land for a while until the Gilded Age brought about urbanization of cities. Because of overpopulation in the East, the government was trying to influence movements in the West. One of the ways was the Homestead Act, which gave people lots of land for cheap. But lots of people, when they moved out there, were disappointed because they were promised things that weren't there. No establishments were made until people settled there. One of the main conflicts individuals had to face would be the presence of Native Americans. The U.S., to deal with the issue, created the Indian Removal Act, which led to the Trail of Tears, which forced them out of the West, thus creating more conflict between natives and settlers. Another way Americans would deal with the Native Americans was through the form of assimilation so as to develop them as part of American society. The Native Americans wanted nothing to do with the settlers. They even practiced something called a ghost dance, which was a new religious movement. Spiritual leader Wovoka practiced a dance that would reunite the living with the spirits of the dead. The Native Americans thought that their ancestors were bringing peace back to their land, as the spirits would fight on their behalf. While all of this conflict was occurring in the West, over in the eastern side of the country, we were beginning to develop new technologies, like trains, steam engines, windmills, and the telegraph, making it easier to connect with the West. The top rich people of the era were Andrew Carnegie, Cornelius Vanderbilt, John D. Rockefeller, and J.P. Morgan. They felt they were benefiting the population of America and even deemed themselves captains of industry, while in reality the majority of society viewed them as robber barons. Those rich men were only getting richer at the expense of poor people. Eventually, people began to realize their hard work is not being valued and started to form labor unions. A labor union is an organized association of workers in a trade or profession that protests to further their rights and interests. The rich people did not like the labor unions because it demanded more money from them.
If a business owner was to hear any talk about a labor union, they would terminate the worker and their name would go onto a blacklist, which would affect their ability to get a new job. Labor unions in this time period would not be able to truly function without the persistency of society. Without all these changes, there would be no progressive era.